What did a teacher say that broke your heart? Can you do that outside? Mrs. Miller, my 10th grade math teacher, glared at me as her words hit like a blow. She was annoyed by the noise I made while quietly sobbing over another failed math test. Math has always been a struggle for me, so those red marks shouldn't have been a surprise. But I was so sure this time would be different. I studied for hours, stayed up late, and even skipped playing with friends, all just to pass this test, and all for nothing. What hurt the most was knowing my parents, despite our financial situation, had hired a tutor to help me. Now that money and their hopes were wasted on their pathetic, empty-headed child. I cried because I gave it everything I had, and it still wasn't enough. My efforts only earned me another low score and my teacher's disgust. Tired of waiting for me to respond, Mrs. Miller sighed, shoved tissues into my hands, and led me outside. Come back in once you've gained your composure, she said, before closing the door. I stood there for a few minutes, my forehead pressed against the cool brick wall, shakily breathing through my tears. Eventually, I did gain my composure, but even in my despair, I knew I deserved better than coldness and closed doors. I turned toward the exit and never looked back. After leaving the hallway, I went to the front office and explained that I could no longer stay in my previous math class. My puffy eyes and desperation said it all, and by the very next day, I was in a new class. My new teacher, Mr. Johnson, was patient, welcoming, and hands down the best math teacher I've ever had. At the end of that year, I was crying again, but this time, it was because I made a perfect score on my final exam. Mr. Johnson was smiling, teary-eyed, right along with me.